So we finally have some good news, and this is good news for the entire world. Here's what is happening at this time. Under pressure from President Biden, Israel has agreed to implement humanitarian pauses. This is huge because this is exactly what the U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken and President Biden have been demanding for several days. What we now know, according to the Associated Press, is that Israel agrees to 4-hour daily pauses in Gaza fighting to allow for civilians to flee. This is according to the White House. This means that for 4 hours every single day, they are now the civilians, the people that are just trying to stay alive, live their lives. They now have the ability to get out of Gaza. This is huge, huge news. Now I want to read you this because this is extremely important. How is this whole thing going to work? How is this going to go down? How will civilians know when this 4-hour pause is going to happen? Well, let's read it. It says right here, Washington has refused to back a ceasefire, and we know this, it's been going on. It says, but starting last week, Secretary of State Antony Blinken began pressing hard for pauses to allow more aid into the Strip, but also to allow Palestinian civilians safe exit from the northern half of Gaza, which has remained under heavy aerial bombardment, but also ongoing ground invasion as tanks have also reportedly reached the center of Gaza City. This is key because what is happening now is now that we're seeing ground troops, they're there. They are there. They're finding these tunnels and these entrances for the tunnels to go and get into Hamas's really into their homes, right? Get into their whole underground layer. That's what they're doing. Well, now that tanks are there in the city, we need to get civilians out. Well, since the Biden administration says it has secured a second pathway for civilians to flee fighting. It says President Joe Biden has asked Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to institute the daily pauses during a Monday call. This is according to the Associated Press. Now it says U.S. National Security Council spokesman John Kirby said that the first humanitarian pause would be announced Thursday, which is today, and that the Israelis had committed to announcing each 4-hour window, this is 4 hours per day, at least 3 hours in advance. That's big. So now civilians are going to know when that 4-hour window is. They can pack up all their stuff. They can be ready. They can get their children. They can get whatever they need, and then they can go. Because again, it's going to be a 4-hour window where Israel is not going to send any missiles, nothing. People can just leave. This is massive. This is very important because, again, this is what we've been waiting for. We've been waiting for this pause so that we don't see this. This is what we can't see. We do not want people being bombed. We don't need civilians, don't need children and women and men that are not even fighting. They just want to get out. Here's why this is good news, according to many White House officials. According to White House officials, they say if the people of Gaza can get out safely, then Israel can send in their troops, they can send in additional equipment, such as tanks, and get Hamas out of hiding. If they can lure Hamas out of hiding, and they can potentially bomb the area, then this war could end that much quicker. So this is good news according to White House officials. The one bad part about this is, according to many statements that we've received and even pictures over the past few weeks, is that these tunnels that Hamas has built, they're under the city. They're under people's homes. So in order to cave in those tunnels, in order to pretty much eliminate Hamas, Israel is going to likely eliminate and destroy people's homes and their livelihood. So, just wanted to fill you in on what's going on at this time. I thought this was very important. This is good news for many people across the world, though, because one of the things that we are seeing is that the Western nations, especially us here in the United States, we are being looked at as the aggressor. We are being looked at as somebody that is backing Israel. And many other countries absolutely despise this. So the good news, according to many officials, is that we are now potentially out of this. And if we get out of this mess quicker, that means there's less of a chance that somebody makes a misstep. For example, Iran or Iranian-backed groups, militias, sending a drone over a U.S. military base, and that drone crashing into the base, giving one person a concussion, but it was strapped with a bomb, explosives. The only problem is, which is fortunate, it didn't go off. The reason why I say this is fortunate for a couple reasons. One, nobody lost their life. And two, if this would have exploded on a military base, that would have been an act of war. That would have been an attack on the United States. And the United States, most likely, I don't know for sure, but most likely would have retaliated. So, good news is, this could potentially be over much quicker than many people were expecting. So, we'll see what happens there, but as always, as I get more information, I promise I'll fill you in on all the latest news and updates. That is what we know at this time. So again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing. I'll see you guys on the next one.